So I'm going to briefly cover work ethics, both for the employer and the employee. Because I am teaching for hospitality and culinary, I'm going to focus my specifics on those industries. But work ethics is going to apply to any industry in which you are looking at. So for the employer has an ethical obligation to provide a safe work environment for the staff and employees. They have to ensure that they are meeting code and OSHA regulations in addition to health department regulations. They also have a code of ethics for treating all employees with dignity and respect, providing a fair wage, and handling all of the business transactions with integrity and honesty. For the employee, showing up on time, tending to company business, treating the company's resources with care, and giving respect to the company by working with honesty and integrity. So, those terms, honesty and integrity, are going to be covered throughout this particular presentation. Being honest is being truthful. Integrity, as my grandmother always taught me, is what you're doing when you don't think anybody is watching. And when you have integrity, you are doing the right thing, whether other people know about it or not, and whether other people are watching or not. So, what this looks like is the number one thing is a professional manner. So, it's really important to have an attitude that combines hard work and performance and dependable results. So, what this actually looks like, if you're working in front of the house, you are dealing with customers and guests. Your front of the house employees, your bartenders, your servers, your host and hostess, your manager, they are face to face with the guest. And it is very important to make sure that you smile, greeting guests. So a guest is always your first priority. If you're in the middle of a conversation and a guest walks in, you don't ignore the guest. If you are really busy and guests have walked in the door, you don't ignore the guests. It's also important to not spread negativity about the workplace or your own problems. The people around you are going to pick up on your energy, and that is going to impact the entire work environment. Nobody wants a Debbie Downer. And essentially act like you want to be there, even on days that you don't. When you have that attitude and you have that mindset that I'm here and I'm making money, and you think about it in less in terms of I have to be at work and more in terms of I get to be at work. I don't get excited every day on the job. There are days that I don't want to be there, but I don't spread that or say that to other people. I don't say that to my students. I don't spread that to other teachers. I take a deep breath and remind myself that I get this opportunity. If you hate a job that bad, then move on down the line, go somewhere else, particularly in this industry. So you can tell the people that don't want to be there, particularly when they're serving guests. In back of the house, these things are kind of similar. You don't want to work alongside of a kitchen of somebody that is just continuously complaining all the time, whether it's about the workplace or about their personal life. So this professional manner and showing respect for others, you are part of a team. Everybody has things that need to be done in that night to serve those guests, period. There's a whole list of things and people that are going to come in and expect to be fed a good quality food product. And if you are not on time, that is disrespectful to the other people, either people that are waiting for you to show up for shift change or guests or clients that are being ignored because you're not there. If you are calling in, I understand sometimes people need to call in. People have things that happen. But if you call in all of the time, then other people have to pick up the slack. It doesn't matter if they like you. Ultimately, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your problems or your personal problems. If you're not there, other people are doing your job, period. That's what it comes down to. If you have a 5-man team and somebody calls in, then 20% of the work there has to be divvied out and divided. And now instead of doing 20% of the work, everybody is doing 25% of the work. Your job has to be done by somebody. If your job didn't need to be done, then you wouldn't have that job. So you are important. and other people are going to have to pick up your slack. Doing your side work and your cleaning, your mise en place, keeping your station clean, keeping little things like the sanitizer buckets clean and fresh, the towels clean and fresh, clean utensils, plates, stocks, glasses, ice, whatever it is that needs to be stocked up and taken care of. If part of your prep list is cutting fruit for the next day's people, when they come in the morning, they need to have that done. If there's an expectation that these things are set up for tomorrow, then that needs to be done. There's a whole slew of things that always need to be done all of the time. Not being on your phone. This is a huge, huge problem when you're on your phone. First off, your phone is dirty. There are germs and pathogens and bacteria all over your phone. And when you have touched your phone, then you are now contaminating every single thing from that, whether it's a table or a chair or a pitcher that you're going to refill somebody's glass with iced tea or water. You're contaminating things because your phone has been touched by your hands, and your hands have bacteria and pathogens and germs. Being on your phone means you're not doing the things that need to be done. There's always something that needs to be done. Some form of side work, some form of cleaning, and it will make the time go faster to make that happen. Being polite to the workers and guests. If you are rude to other people that you work with and the guests, then you are not fulfilling the overall mission that that restaurant has. Being respectful to everybody around you and dependable as much as possible. Like I said, I understand things happen in your life. Nobody cares. Now they have to do your work and they're not happy about it. So don't be a Debbie Downer and complain all the time. Don't be somebody that just acts like, I don't want to be here all the time, because that's going to impact other people around you. Smile. Be positive. So this is also important in separating your personal life from your work life. Avoid discussing your personal problems. Sometimes you might have something big going on. You may want to talk about it, but that's not the time or the place. If you have friends, go out with your friends, discuss it with your friends. If you have telephone calls and texting, and if you have a fight with your spouse or your partner and you're just sitting there texting at work back and forth, that is not professional. That is very unprofessional. And that's not helping anybody that you work with as part of a team. Again, you are part of a team. You need to work as a unit together to fulfill these tasks. If you are romantically or befriending somebody that you work with, you need to keep a professional relationship at work. This includes being overly romantic at work. This also includes if you have had a fight and now you've broken up, and that is an issue as well. Like, you're at work. If you have a problem, deal with it when you're not at work. So it stinks when things aren't going right in your personal life. But if you are working, be very mindful of the job that you need to get done, because ultimately people that don't do these are not the people that are going to move forward and move up. They're just not focused on their job, and these are not habits of successful people. So also, don't steal from your job, whether it's food or cash or property or office supplies or paper towels. That is not ethical to steal from the place that you are working with. That costs the company money, and this doesn't show integrity and honesty with yourself. So when we talk about the difference between hard skills and soft skills, so soft skills are where ethics fall into. So these are transferable to every job or career. They are necessary for dealing with people and society. Communication is a soft skill, and this is written, verbal, and nonverbal. Nonverbal communication is going to come into play, particularly when you're dealing with guests and customers. You got to learn how to, not have every thought come across your face. I'm not great at that. I'm not a good poker player. Like, it's my face is very loud. Verbal communication, knowing when it's appropriate to use language and tone and to code shift from one to the other. For front of the house, dealing with a customer or a guest, you really want to try not to drop those F-bombs, but in the back of the house, when you're dealing more with the back of the house crew, then you'll find that language can get a little bit more colorful. When I'm with my friends, I don't use as formal of a language as when I'm teaching. When I am writing a text to a friend, it's different than when I'm sending an email to a boss or a manager or even a student. Professional versus non-professional. That term is called code switching, and people code switch regularly based upon the time and setting. It's important and professional and mature to know and understand when something is not appropriate for a time and a place. So I tell my students that all the time, particularly with their language in the classroom: time and place. It's very important to know and understand when you're hanging out with your friends that that is not the language that you use in a professional setting. So ethics are doing the right thing, teamwork, working together. Sometimes that means you may be working with people that you don't like, but you are still working together to fulfill the mission of the business. Having those people skills, interacting with the public, interacting with people in public, and being able to make those connections and move that forward. So, hard skills are specific things that you need for a very specific job. So, for culinary, hard skills for culinary include knowledge of safety, including equipment, how to put out a fire, how not to hurt yourself, how to hang something appropriately, deal with heavy things, sanitation, how not to make people sick with food items, or spread pathogens from yourself to food items or food items to food items with cross contamination, understanding knife skills and professional knife skills and why that is important. Equipment use. There's a lot of different levels of equipment, both big and small, in the culinary kitchen, and you need to know how to use them, care for them, and clean them appropriately. Menu skills, recipe skills, different cooking methods. There's very different results from different cooking methods, including knowing the science behind little things, which are going to make a big difference in your cooking. Knowledge of specific ingredients and understanding the different ingredients that you're going to be using. Different potatoes cook differently, and knowing the difference between the red, the gold, the purple, and the russet, that's going to make a big difference in your recipe. So there's a lot of ingredient knowledge to follow there. Proper measuring techniques, very important and critical, particularly for consistent yields, and math and conversions. A lot of recipes are in the metric system, and you need to know and understand how to convert those over. So when we look at these, just to summarize it up here, we're looking at these soft skills. So treating people fairly, establishing rapport, being a cooperative team member, dealing effectively with conflict so that you can clarify misunderstandings, being able to have an environment of positive social interactions. With anything that you say or do, this is really what it comes down to on being ethical or not. Is it fair? Does it uphold the value of the organization? Can I proudly tell my decisions or relate this event to my employer, family, and others? How would others regard this if this became public? Are they going to do a news story over what I said or did? And would that be embarrassing to my place of employment? Am I confident in this decision? Is it legal? Does it hurt anyone? Does it positively represent the company that I am working for? Does it make anybody uncomfortable? Is it respectful of others? Did I ask anybody else their viewpoint when I didn't know or understand? So in the restaurant industry, show up for your scheduled shifts, complete your side work and prep tasks, clean your station and equipment clean and well stocked, communicate as a team, working together as a team and keeping communication. And that includes sometimes when you're going down and you need help. Don't be negative and spread poor energy. Nobody wants to be around that in an environment. Learn how to become really good at the hard skills you need. That's going to be important and critical. You may not know them when you start your job, but you need to practice them and work and get better at them. And there's also a term called flow. Flow is when you are working in the moment and you are not thinking, you have muscle memory, and that helps the time go by faster, and it makes you more efficient, and it makes the time better, and it makes things more enjoyable. When you get into the flow of something, then your work is almost like a dance. You're not thinking about outside things and your cell phone or positives or negatives. You are completely and totally just living in that moment and working in that moment, and that will make you a better employee, and it'll make everything a lot more enjoyable as well. So there you go. That's how to be successful pretty much with any job, but also definitely in the hospitality or culinary industry. Just some little tidbits. If you can follow these little tips and tricks, then you can move up and you can have a very good professional career. You just have to work hard.